I want to talk about here the idea of and it's something been torn around. I don't have a final opinion on it, but it's been racking around in my brain. So Kem Carson, someone I listen to a lot, who talks about the idea of the importance of flows within the market and market positioning as far as making decisions in the market, has been comparing our current time to the 70s, the inflation in the 70s, the populism of the 70s, that sort of thing.
Was that
And
a good time?
sorry.
Was that a good time, or did it lead to good times? What was the 70s?
The stock market went up 20% on the years where there was an election, and every other time it was flat or down. So on net, if you were exposed to the stock market during that entire period without ever selling, you were like down some significant portion. But there was growth within the economy because the inflation was caused by the baby movers who are much more numerous than the who were before the baby movers, the silent generation, much more numerous than the generation before them. Yeah, it was the silent generation. I'm not sure. And so they were just kept buying a bunch of things, right? They had to buy more houses, they had to buy more things. They all entered into the workforce. It would cause a huge amount of inflation, and then you had like disturbances abroad, with Russia, with China, and that sort of thing that caused turmoil and blah blah blah. But what I keep thinking is that we're in the fourth turning. We're clearly in the fourth turning. Neil Howe was and William Strauss dead on. That we're in the fourth turning, and the fourth turning is one of the things characterized is by the setting up of new institutional systems that'll take over now for the next 80 years at least or whatever. And it is very hard to see what's going on with crypto and AI and robotics, but crypto in particular, and not go, how is this not part of the new economic system that we're going
Right.
to live with?
Impossible.
Like people forget there are people alive today that remember paying for things with gold. Like people think this is 500 years ago. It's 1971 that the United States went off the gold standard, and then it was off to the races. And the new debt driven system where you didn't have your currency backed by gold, claimable gold, even though there was all kinds of shenanigans. Like they went off the system because like, oh, we can't lie anymore. I forget which country. I think it was France or whatever. They're like, hey, we want to redeem our US dollars for gold. Let's go ahead. And they're like, how about we invade you or not? Let's just get off the gold and we're gonna leave this whole looking for gold thing off to the side.
Wait, did you say you wanted us to invade you? Wait, what? I'm sorry.
Sounds
Did
like
I? It sounds like.
sounds like you're saying you don't want to be a country anymore. Excuse me? No, no, it's fine. It's fine. Just give me the interest payments. And so it's hard to not to see echoes of that happening right now. So to me, I'm almost starting to see crypto, Bitcoin, as the currency's currency. Like how currency was reflected of gold, instead of Bitcoin being a replacement for the our currency, what if it's a new like cryptocurrency is the currency of currencies? Does that make sense to you?
No.
Like the reason we wanted currencies was to be able to redeem in gold,
Is that the
right?
reason we wanted currency? No, we wanted an easier way to
No,
transact.
no. Currencies are IOUs, and you would go to the bank, you would get your gold.
Yeah, I know, but because you didn't want to be walking around with your gold.
Right, they're representative of the gold.
Yeah, it was an easier way to
Yes,
transact.
yeah, it was a contract. It was an IOU.
Mhm.
Now we've moved because we're off the gold standard. Now the currency is itself the money.
Right. Or the faith in the and trust in the government is the money.
Right, the fiat. Faith, enforcement, it's one of those two. I have faith that they'll enforce it. Hey, we found it. We found it. And so, maybe it's not that cryptocurrency is gonna replace our currency right now, but that it's gonna be used as the thing that's the more currency than currency.
Well, didn't Kathy Wood talk about it as like the internet's money? Like there's a whole new market online where physical cash and
Doesn't
gold
make any sense.
doesn't
Yeah,
make any sense. And
that's
that
right.
she said there was always this missing, or she was told by, I don't know who her mentor was, that there was this missing piece to the internet puzzle, which was transacting. and that's what crypto is. And then on top of that, that'll be amplified by AI, who definitely need expedient, fast, easy ways to settle
Well,
transactions.
I don't think it's a missing piece. I think it will be a replacement, but as its own thing. So, for example, what the problems that currency solved over gold was not being able to carry it around. People could steal it from you. The inventory cost of holding gold, insurance, the ease of being able to transact, and then we move towards credit cards and debit cards or whatever, and that gave us even more flexibility. But then we have a major problem with the currency now, which is that we cannot. There's no transparency to it.
Right.
There's no transparency whatsoever. And so you can imagine that in this catalyst of transparency within the fourth turning, that will demand that, and that we would want the activities of our governments and institutions or what have you to be on a blockchain, to be at least ostensibly auditable and transparent. And what you get in exchange for that is a deflationary currency that goes up in value as you hold it, right? So the idea is like, hey, you want transparency in everything I'm doing? Yeah, but you'll make trillions of dollars. Oh, trillions of dollars. But then I have to think of a whole new way of doing corruption. Yeah, yeah. Just think of a whole new way of doing it. Okay. Okay. So now that their hand is forced because the debt system has gone to the point where refinancing it is like the refinancing on the debt is higher than in the United States, higher than the military spending, which is gulp, not good.
People say
Last
that, they keep saying it like, oh, the interest payments is greater than the war budget, and it's like saying, oh, there's an asteroid heading towards Earth. Like
That's right.
people just go, oh, there's an asteroid heading towards Earth,
Yeah, sending
would
towards.
cause immense.
Oh, you mean like for sure guaranteed it's gonna cause massive disruption and death and poverty to millions and billions of people? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you know this is coming. I mean, as sure as the day is long, we know it's coming. Literally, it's part of the system. It's how it works. Hey, you
Absolutely.
ever had a credit card where you use another credit card in order to pay off the debt off the one credit card, and then you have another credit card to pay off the debt on that credit card? You ever do that again and again and again? You know how good that feels? You know how that always turns into a great thing afterwards?
And
So
then
that's
they
just a
lived
simple
happily
way.
ever after.
Right, but the idea that cryptocurrency comes in as a savior, as a currency plus currency 2.0 makes total sense, and then we get all these extra benefits, and then all these new ways of corruption, which is great. New ways of corruption means new types of oligarchs, means new types of things to complain about in the next fourth turning. And so, and then with AI and robotics, it makes me feel that this age of potential stagflation that we'll have, let's call it 10, 15 years, I'm not convinced that we have it. I'm not convinced that we have the same sort of stagflation that we had in the 70s,
Well, we have all this
because
hidden productivity
that's right,
and looming productivity,
right.
and
That
we're not
we're all
proper.
seeing it.
Yeah, and we're not properly. We don't have the proper numbers for our society. We don't actually see. Talk about transparency. I don't think we actually see the economy for what it actually is. There's all these hidden areas.
Well, it's the way that we use the word growth. So if we were to have this stagflationary period, it would be characterized by rising prices, greater discrepancy between the rich and the poor, and harder to get ahead and that sort of thing. And we saw that from 2008 till 2022, 2023. Like we saw that. We had that. That's the millennial life. That's the inflationary period. What we see now, and what I see everywhere, is that it feels like, I don't know if you're seeing this, it feels like to me, every person now, every other person could start a new thing.
You can just do things.
You can just do stuff. Like even before the AI stuff, it was sort of like, well, if I wanted to start my own, they call them influencers, but if I wanted to create a new entertainment thing or educational thing or what, like you could do it and make a living potentially. The Patreons of the world, the rev share from Google and all this stuff, the Twitch primes, the okay, there are ways of doing that, and then you would see all kinds of things like people making whole businesses out of cake toppers and wooden squirrel figurines and you're like and Etsy shops and you're like, okay, there are ways of people to do this where it wasn't like that 2011, right?
Hmm.
And now you add on top of that AI, and it's like my problem is like narrowing things down to what I want to try.
Yeah.
So I don't know about how other people feel, but it feels like there's more opportunity now than I ever could ever have imagined. Even when I was in school, these are the most amount of opportunity
But that's only
ever.
true for people who are entrepreneur. They have the entrepreneurial spirit.
We
Otherwise,
work right
if you're,
now with Traders Post,
yeah,
right? Which is a company that previously would have needed 200 people
I was thinking about that. Yeah.
and two offices in order to do what they're doing. That's not the case. We're in Canada and you're far deep into Canada. You're not even anywhere close to regular people. So,
I escaped the city. Yeah, I was thinking my job, what I do, either would have taken way longer to do, or I'd need like 3, 4 people to do it. And now I can just bang, 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 do it all myself.
you
I
do it.
can't even believe the things that I can do on my own.
Right.
Never would I do this job without AI. Never. It'd just be absolutely mind numbing,
I have an
disgusting.
album on Spotify. What?
Oh, yeah, I'm making music too. Yeah, it's really crazy.
So it just feels like I don't think it's just for a few. I think a lot of people. Our mom is using it for Bible studies and Bible sermons.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was in church with her the other day, and she pulls out. She says this whole beautiful speech. Beautiful. People were like, "Oh my God, God is inspiring her." And she comes down, sits down in the pew next to me, and she goes, "Did you like that?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "AI wrote that." I said, "What?" Yeah, use AI to help me. I was like, unbelievable. And so to me, I mean, if this to me is not like the stories we had of the Industrial Revolution, where the farmers came and they were sitting in garbage or whatever. They, no need for they couldn't fight for a job because there's always someone 3 years younger and who will do it for a nickel less. Like it doesn't feel like that now. Now we do have 29% unemployment rate if you calculate it based on the rates that we had before.
I think the have and have nots are going to be separated now by those who have uh, ambition, inspiration, motivation versus people who have been zombified. Because here's the thing, society does create zombies. Like it perpetuates this virus. Like you don't. There are people who are really motivated to do things, and there are other people. It's never been easier to find a way not to do stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know what the future is going to hold. I don't think. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But I think the division is always there. It's just what's being divided now is kind of changing.
Yeah. So we'll see. So I think because it's fourth turning, it changed the dynamics of things that you would have seen before. Whatever is going to happen has to be, in a sense, unexpected by large masses of people and forced because of popular circumstances. So let's see how that turns in. But I literally don't see how crypto is not an underpinning underneath all this sort of thing. So we'll see.
So what was the topic for this segment?
That the one of the headwinds, the tailwinds for crypto is that we're in the fourth turning. It's another reason why I think the cycle low is nowhere close and that we're headed towards really all-time highs because the fourth turning is a catalyst for the adoption of new technology and institutions.
How important do you think it is for people to understand what the fourth turning is? Like,
Oh my
it's
God.
almost
It's winter is coming. Winter's here. It blows my mind, Peter, that we've watched movie after movie, TV show after TV show, fantasy book after fantasy book, all describing the type of phenomenon we're talking about. A time where
crisis.
bad times require strong men and the whole thing, and we just sit around. People just sit around, and you're like you're in that right now. You're in the Maze Runner. You're in time. You're Justin Timberlake. Your time is ticking down. You're in Allegiance. You're in it. Don't you see you're in it? I don't know. I don't know. It's in it. So to me, it's so important because not because I think that if people aren't aware, they're not going to be able to make the choices. It's sort of like things are going to happen. That's going to happen. But the profit that can be made, both intellectually, economically, purposefully, the profit that can be made is unbelievable. Like these are the times where generational wealth can be made, where someone looks back, oh yeah, my daddy did this thing at the time, and now my family, now 3 generations down, are like hobnobbing with the Rockefellers and the Clintons or whoever's going to be around at the time.